There are moments in life when it feels like the ground has disappeared beneath your feet. When the dream collapses, when the door slams shut, when you did everything you knew how to do and still ended up on your knees. And in that moment, a single question rises up from your soul: why me? But what if I told you that the breakdown you're experiencing right now is not the end of your story? What if it's the setup for the breakthrough that will define your life? Because history, faith, and human potential all scream the same truth. God doesn't waste pain. He repurposes it. He takes setbacks, and for those who refuse to quit, he turns them into unstoppable comebacks when something goes wrong. Most people instantly assume they've done something wrong. They think the setback is proof that they are unworthy, unlucky, or abandoned. But that belief is the very thing that keeps them stuck. Because if you believe your setback is a punishment, you shrink, you lose energy, you lower your standards. But if you understand that your setback is preparation, everything changes. Your posture changes. Your mindset changes, your spirit changes. Suddenly, instead of asking, why is this happening to me? You begin to ask, what is this preparing me for? Think about it. Nothing strong is built without resistance. Muscles don't grow without weight. Character doesn't grow without challenge. Faith doesn't deepen without uncertainty. God does some of his greatest work not when things are going well, but when everything feels like it's falling apart. Because in those moments, the false supports are removed. The ego is stripped away, and what's left is your raw, real self standing face to face with truth. That's where transformation begins. Every major comeback story follows this pattern. First comes the loss, the rejection, the failure, the season where it feels like you're moving backward while everyone else is moving forward. But what you don't see in the moment is that God is rewiring you. He's building resilience where comfort once lived. He's teaching you discipline where motivation used to be enough. He's sharpening your focus by removing distractions you once depended on. You think you're being delayed, but in reality you're being developed. Preparation doesn't feel good. It feels uncomfortable, lonely, confusing. You pray and the answer doesn't come the way you expected. You work hard and the results don't show up on your timeline. But that's because preparation happens underground. Just like a seed buried in darkness, nothing looks like it's happening on the surface. But beneath the soil, roots are forming. Strength is growing, and when the time is right, what emerges is powerful enough to withstand storms. If you skip preparation, the success you want would destroy you. If the breakthrough came before you were ready, the pressure would crush you, the attention would distract you, and the responsibility would overwhelm you. So God in his wisdom allows a setback, not to hurt you, but to harden you, not to break you, but to build you, not to stop you, but to shape you into someone capable of carrying the vision you've been praying for. This is where your role comes in. Preparation only works if you don't quit, if you stay humble, if you stay hungry, if you keep showing up even when it feels pointless. Faith is not passive. Faith is getting up one more time than you fall. Faith is saying, I don't understand this season, but I trust the process. Faith is choosing belief over bitterness. One day you'll look back at this setback and realize it saved you. It redirected you. It introduced you to a stronger version of yourself. And you'll see clearly what you can't see right now, that God was never against you. He was working in you, preparing you for a comeback so powerful, so undeniable that you'll know without question, this wasn't luck, this was purpose. Pain gets a bad reputation. Most people run from it, numb it, distract themselves from it, or pretend it isn't there. But pain is not your enemy. Pain is information. Pain is a signal. And the moment you understand that pain is not a life sentence, but a message, you reclaim your power. Because the people who rise again aren't the ones who avoid pain. They're the ones who learn how to listen to it without letting it define them. Think about this. Pain exists in your body for a reason. If you touch fire, pain tells you to pull your hand back. It protects you. It alerts you. Emotional and spiritual pain works the same way. It shows you where you've been stretched, where something is misaligned, where growth is demanding your attention. But most people make one fatal mistake. They confuse the signal with their identity. They say, I am broken, instead of saying, something needs to change. And that belief locks them into suffering far longer than the pain was ever meant to last. Pain is temporary, but meaning makes it permanent. When you decide that pain means you're weak, forgotten, or finished, you turn a moment into a mindset. But when you decide that pain is feedback, it becomes fuel. It becomes direction. It becomes the very thing that wakes you up to a higher standard for your life. God doesn't speak only through comfort. Sometimes he speaks through discomfort. because that's the only thing loud enough to get your attention. Look at the moments in your life that hurt the most. The betrayal, the failure, the loss, the disappointment. As brutal as they were, they revealed truth. They showed you who you could trust. They showed you what mattered. They showed you where you were settling, where you were relying on your own strength instead of divine strength. Pain strips away illusions. And while that process hurts, it also frees you. Here's the shift that changes everything. Pain is not proof that something is wrong with you. It's proof that you are alive, evolving, and being called higher. Growth hurts. Expansion hurts. Letting go hurts. But staying the same hurts even more because that pain is silent, slow, and soul-crushing. God will allow acute pain to save you from chronic regret. The problem is not pain itself. The problem is resistance to pain. When you fight it, suppress it, or deny it, it controls you. When you face it, feel it, and ask what it's teaching you, it transforms you. This is where faith becomes real, not as a concept, but as a practice. Faith says, this hurts, but it's not here to destroy me. Faith says, I won't build my future on my wounds. Faith says, I trust that God can use even this. Pain often shows you where your calling is. The thing that hurts you the most is often connected to the thing you care about the most, and what you care deeply about is usually tied to your purpose. That's why your setback hurts. It matters. If it didn't matter, it wouldn't move you. And that intensity is not accidental. God plants purpose inside passion, and pain is what refines it. When you stop labeling pain as punishment and start treating it as preparation, you stop asking for the pain to disappear and start asking for the strength to grow through it. You begin to respond instead of react. You choose discipline over despair, action over avoidance, and slowly, almost quietly, pain loses its power over you. One day, the pain that once knocked the wind out of you will become the wisdom that lifts others up. The tears will become testimony. The wounds will become proof that you survived what should have stopped you. And when your comeback arrives, you'll realize something extraordinary. The pain was never your prison. It was your invitation to rise again. There is a place in life that most people try to avoid, a place that feels slow, silent, and uncertain. It's the valley, the season where your prayers feel unanswered, your effort seems unnoticed, and your confidence is tested daily. But here's the truth most people never learn. The valley is not where you are weakened. It's where you are forged. God does not build strength on the mountaintop. He reveals it there. Strength is built in the valley. When everything is going well, you don't question much. You don't dig deep. You don't stretch your faith. Comfort makes you complacent. But the valley demands something different. It demands trust when you can't see the outcome. It demands discipline when motivation is gone. It demands faith not because life is easy, but because it's hard. And that's why the valley becomes the training ground for elevation. Think about it. What good would promotion be if you lacked humility? What good would success be if you lacked endurance? What good would influence be if you lacked character? God prepares you in private before he promotes you in public. He strengthens your roots before he increases your reach. And the valley is where those roots grow deep enough to support the weight of what's coming next. In the valley, your dependencies are exposed. You realize what you leaned on that can't hold you anymore. People fall away. Old identities collapse. Plans you were certain about no longer work. And while that feels like loss, it's actually alignment. God is removing what would break under pressure so you can stand strong when the pressure increases. You are not being emptied. You are being refined. This is also where faith matures. Not the loud, emotional kind of faith, but the quiet, unshakable kind. The kind that keeps going without applause. The kind that prays without immediate results. The kind that obeys even when it doesn't understand. That kind of faith changes you from the inside out. It turns belief into conviction. And conviction is what carries you when feelings fade. The valley teaches patience in a world addicted to speed. It teaches listening in a world obsessed with noise. It teaches surrender in a world driven by control. And every one of those lessons is essential for the next level of your life. Because elevation without wisdom leads to destruction. God would rather delay you than destroy you. Here's what you must remember when you're in the valley. This is not your final destination. Valleys are temporary, but the strength you gain there is permanent. Every step you take, even when it feels small, is building something inside you. Every time you choose integrity over shortcuts, faith over fear, persistence over quitting, you are becoming someone capable of sustaining the blessing you've been praying for. When the elevation comes, and it will, You won't just stand higher, you'll stand stronger. You won't just have more, you'll be more. And you'll understand then that the valley was not a detour, it was the pathway. God didn't abandon you there, he met you there, strengthened you there, and prepared you there so that when you rise unshakable. There is a powerful lie that keeps people stuck even when they say they have faith. The lie that belief alone is enough. Faith is essential, but faith without action is incomplete. Faith is not waiting for God to do everything while you do nothing. Faith is the deck. Vision to move, to act, to step forward, even when the outcome is uncertain. And when faith is combined with action, momentum is born. That momentum is what turns setbacks into comebacks. Think about it. Every miracle you admire was activated by a move. The water didn't part until someone stepped forward. The stone wasn't rolled away until someone showed up. The breakthrough didn't happen until someone obeyed despite fear. God responds to motion, not perfect motion, faithful motion, the willingness to act before you feel ready, before you feel strong, before you have all the answers. Most people wait for confidence to take action, but confidence is a reward, not a requirement. Action creates confidence. When you move, even imperfectly, something shifts inside you. Your nervous system changes, your focus sharpens, your energy rises, and suddenly, what felt impossible begins to feel manageable. That's momentum, and once momentum starts, it becomes easier to keep going than to stop. Faith without action becomes wishful thinking. Action without faith becomes exhausting. But when the two come together, something extraordinary happens. You stop relying solely on your own strength, yet you refuse to sit still. You pray and you prepare. You trust and you train. You believe and you build. This partnership between divine guidance and human effort is where transformation accelerates. Action also clarifies purpose. Sitting still breeds doubt because the mind fills silence with fear. B. UT movement brings clarity. Each step reveals the next. You don't need the entire map. You need the courage to take the first step. God rarely shows the full picture up front, not because he's hiding it, but because growth happens in the walking. The journey itself is what shapes you. Momentum doesn't come from giant leaps. It comes from small, consistent actions taken daily. Showing up when you don't feel like it. Choosing discipline over comfort. Doing what you can with what you have right now. Those small actions compound. They build strength. They build trust in yourself. And they signal to God that you're ready to steward more. Here's the truth. Setbacks often break momentum, but they don't have to end it. You don't need to restart your entire life. You just need to restart movement. One phone call, one prayer, one workout, one honest conversation, one decision to stop running from what you know you must face. Movement breaks paralysis. Action silences fear. When faith and action work together, you stop feeling like life is happening to you and start feeling like life is happening through you. You become a participant, not a spectator. And that shift changes everything. Because God can redirect a moving person far more easily than a stationary one. Your comeback will not arrive while you're waiting for perfect conditions. It will arrive while you're moving in imperfect ones. Step by step, action by action, faith-fueled momentum will carry you forward. And one day you'll look back and realize that the moment you chose to move was the moment everything began to rise again.